My name's Josh. I own and operate Path Melbourne, which is a brew bar in North Melbourne, and I've been playing in local and international bands, hardcore bands and punk bands since 2006. I've never been able to like something and not be a part of whatever that is. Whether it's coffee, music or sports. I was kind of listening to like alternative music like in primary school. Pretty early, like heavy stuff like Pantera, Machine Head, Fear Factory, that kind of stuff when I was like pretty young, and then he got me into drums. My younger brother actually started playing drums and I was like, well, we can't all play drums. So I started playing guitar. And then we kind of started just doing little bands, like local bands and stuff like that, and then it just kind of stemmed from there. So hardcore was kind of, I feel like, for people who are into punk music but didn't want to kind of dress like punks or act like punks, like fashion-wise, like more refined version. So I feel like the Jordans is just this nice, clean, refined shoe that just suited the culture a little bit. Like you wouldn't really catch punks wearing Jordans too much, but hardcore people were like kind of like into the cleaner kind of silhouette and like the nice crisp white colors. And then for me, like growing up, like could really not really ever afford like a pair of Jordans at all. So by the time I had saved up, it was kind of later in my teens. Then finally got one, and it was like one of those like key moments in like your childhood where you're just like, fuck, like I own a pair of Jordans now, you know, like I've made it. And you don't want to wreck them, and then you play a show in them and they get all scuffed. Like I started touring when I was 17, and then probably like when I was like 24, 25, you get to the age where you start like drinking coffee or like searching out like good coffee. And that kind of started in Europe when we were on tour. Coming back to Melbourne, like got my kind of first real cafe job, just bottom of the barrel stuff like washing dishes, kitchen prep stuff, and then you start to dive into like a little bit of the coffee and annoying the barista that's working that day. Like how do you do this, how do you do that? You get to a point when you're maybe like me, like running the show for a little bit, like at a cafe, and you're like, I could do this for myself. Like I didn't ever think I'd be in a position to actually do it. We have good staff. My partner Ash is like doing half of the stuff that I do as well. And then Blue, like our full-timer, like takes care of the shop. So it's definitely like make sure you've got a really good support. Yeah, in terms of being creative like musically and having the shop. And now we've kind of got like it's the shop and then the coffee roasting, so it's like we almost have two separate businesses, and then bands that I'm in. It does take a little bit of a back seat, but you still find time and just be more efficient with your time in terms of like a creative sense.